Hey guys, how's it going? This is the Stupendous Wave, and in this one, we're doing my next dino battle between Allosaurus and Carnotaurus, and I apologize that it has taken me this long to get to it, but it's here now, and if you have any suggestions for future dino battles, I'd appreciate it if you'd leave it in the comments. So now, without further ado, let's get started. So as I said, this battle is between Allosaurus and Carnotaurus. So let's go ahead and start off and analyze Allosaurus. So Allosaurus was around during the late Jurassic period. The name Allosaurus means different lizard. It's averaged around 26 feet long, and some remains even suggest that it was around 40 feet. So around 26 to 40 feet long. It weighed anywhere from 2 to 3 tons. It hunted large sauropods by assumingly hunting in packs because one Allosaurus could not take down a large sauropod, so it is assumed that they were social hunters, which meant that they worked in packs and hunted in packs in order to take down larger dinosaurs such as sauropods. Allosaurus also had a large and powerful skull. Allosaurus also regularly or commonly fought Stegosaurus, another very powerful herbivore out there, which definitely gives the Allosaurus some fighting experience. And there's fossil records that do indicate that these two dinosaurs scrapped. The horns on an Allosaurus's head were actually not used for combat. They were possibly used for sunshades, them being directly placed above the eye, which means that it would block it from the sun, which means the sun might not bother the dinosaur as much. So that's really interesting. They were not used for combat. The Allosaurus had long and powerful arms. Probably its most interesting and best attribute are its large arms. It was possibly capable of leaping due to its powerful legs, which is very interesting. It had a relatively weak bite force, around half that of a lion, which is very interesting, and something that a lot of people don't really know is that the bite force of an Allosaurus isn't really that powerful. Like I said, it's around half the bite of a lion. That will come into effect because, as we've seen in past dino battles, bite force really does affect the outcome of a battle. It is an extremely fast dinosaur, having a relatively light body and powerful legs. It is commonly found in fossils, meaning it was a very successful species. That meant that they probably didn't die out as in bulks. They were probably able to live pretty long. In fact, the average life of an Allosaurus is supposed to be around 25 years, which is pretty good. Its teeth had serrated edges, and they were constantly being replaced. So that's going to help in a fight, having the serrated edges, being able to kind of cut through the flesh a little bit easier. Due to it being a theropod, it could not use its tail in combat because the tails of a theropod are mainly used for balancing and not for fighting. It had a thick head which could be used to swing around and smash into things. It could not ram into things because the horns were, as I said, not used for combat, but it could definitely swing its head around and run that into things because it had a large and powerful skull, as stated earlier. It has a large thumb claw similar to a baryonyx, of course, on its arms, which is its biggest attribute. Its massive claws that are placed on its arms, which is going to give it a big advantage over Carnotaurus, because as we know, Carnotaurus does not have any claws on its arms at all. Now, just something outside of actual scientific stuff, in Operation Genesis, Allosaurus tends to attempt to avoid conflict with larger theropods and aggressive herbivores. We know that it avoids Triceratops in the game and other larger theropods like T-Rex, Spinosaurus, Carnotaurus. It will tend to avoid those, so that's very interesting. If we're taking Jurassic Park into account, it really isn't an extremely aggressive dinosaur. So that's pretty interesting, something a little bit extra added, and it is also sparingly used in Jurassic Park lore. It's not in any of the movies, it's not even really mentioned in any of the movies. We just really have Operation Genesis and probably a few other minor games that it even has a part of. So that's Allosaurus, a very dangerous dinosaur, again possibly hunting in packs. They call it the wolf of the Jurassic, so it really has earned its name. Something very interesting is, as I said, its bite force isn't as strong, which may play a pretty big role in this fight, because bite force is very important. It can't use its tail, but its arms and its long claws are going to also have a big role, and the serrated edges of the teeth, and also the speed of it. So altogether a very, very dangerous dinosaur, and the Carnotaurus will have its hands full, because again the Allosaurus is a lot larger than the Carnotaurus. So anyway, now that we've analyzed the Allosaurus, let's go ahead and move on to the Carnotaurus. So the Carnotaurus was around during the late Cretaceous period. Carnotaurus means meat-eating bull. In popular media, the Carnotaurus is shown to be heavily built, which is actually not true. The Carnotaurus is in reality a lightly built bipedal theropod. It's 26 to 30 feet in length and 1 to 2 tons, so like I said, it's quite smaller than a Allosaurus in weight and size and length. It hunted sauropods and dinosaurs to relative size to Gallimimus. Its bite force was around 6,000 pounds, or anywhere from 6,000 pounds to 4 tons. So really impressive bite force for such a for a smaller dinosaur or a smaller theropod. It's also known for having an extremely quick jaw, most times going in for 2 bites when most dinosaurs might only be able to get 1 in, so that's a big advantage. It had very, very thick horns on its head, which were used for combat. It lined up so it would be able to ram into things perfectly, which is really going to help. It also had a thick outer hide with armored spikes, and its body was built to absorb shock, having a very, very lean body and long, powerful legs, and a very, very strong, boxy head, which means that it could absorb shock extremely well, which means when it ran into things it might not get hurt, or even when something rams into it, it might not get hurt as much as if a regular dinosaur were to be rammed into. It would pose a weakness if it was hit in its side rather than head on, because the side would be more vulnerable, but at the same time a dinosaur that is well adapted to taking shock. It had a rounder, thicker head, which again helps with it ramming into things, with its large, thick horns. Its body was built to propel into things. As I said, it was able to absorb shock. Again, with the lean body and the long, powerful legs, it was able to move really fast and run into things without injuring itself. It was extremely similar to what I would call a carnivorous Pachycephalosaurus. It's one of the few theropods confirmed not to have feathers, which is very interesting. It's possibly the fastest dinosaur that ever lived, and definitely a contender for fastest theropod that ever lived. Its long legs really helped with this, and its lean body also helped with this. Carnotaurus had very, very small arms that didn't even have claws in them. It was smaller and even less useless than T-Rex's arms. And in media, the Carnotaurus in the Lost World book, it was actually able to it had an advanced color change feature, which really helped it out in the book with eating prey, and a very, very interesting sequence in the book where where people are attacked by the Carnotaurus, and this will really help out in a fight if it is taken into account. So anyway, now that we've analyzed both of these, let's go ahead and talk about the winner. So in my opinion, if you take out the color change factor for the Carnotaurus, it's an inconclusive win. On one hand, you have the much larger Allosaurus, which is capable of just, if it ever got a hold of the Carnotaurus, it would absolutely win. But at the same time, due to its less effective bite force, it might not be able to kill the Carnotaurus with one hit. And then on the Carnotaurus side, if it were to ram into the Allosaurus, it could injure it, but because of the Allosaurus' size, it might not be able to knock it over. And if it's able to stay on its feet and it then becomes aware of the Carnotaurus might have a harder time going after the Allosaurus again, and the Allosaurus would, of course, being a fairly fast dinosaur itself, be ready for the second attack and be able to maybe wrestle the Carnotaurus down to the ground with its large arms and bite it there. But if the Carnotaurus were able to knock it over, it could then go in for 2 quick bites and take out the Allosaurus that way with its very, very quick jaw and its if it goes in for that heavy hit right away. So as far as that goes, it's kind of inconclusive if we take out the color change factor. Now if we add in the color change factor, due to the Carnotaurus's incredible speed, I see that it would be able to camouflage itself, ram into an unsuspecting Allosaurus, and then even if the Allosaurus did not fall down immediately, the Carnotaurus could retreat and then come back again with another ram, eventually knocking the Allosaurus down and going in for the bite. So in reality, it could really go either way, giving a slight edge to the Allosaurus just due to its size and strength, but in the Jurassic Park franchise, simply due to the color change factor, it gives the Carnotaurus a gigantic advantage over the Allosaurus. So anyway, now that you've heard my thoughts on it, go ahead and leave your comments down below. Which of these two fantastic dinosaurs would win? Who would win in real life, or who would win in the JP universe? Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, and have a great day.